And good morning at 7:04 on this Wednesday, July 27th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, on a Wednesday morning, it's time for us to talk about Cedar Stone Bank. Bob McDonald is with us this morning. Bob is President and Chief Executive Officer. Cedar Stone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Julia, Donaldson, Simple Banking, Simply Better. Bob, good morning.
Coleman, good morning, and it's great to be with you and hearing you go through that routine right there. You've been saying that since, I think, 2008 is when we started doing our weekly time with you, and you say it very well. You still say it very well.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, that's what it is. Simple Banking, Simply Better.
Well, I've told you many times, and I'll continue to tell you that we appreciate our relationship with all of you there at the station, and y'all been with us from the very beginning, and we had relationships before we started our bank in 2004. And so our relationship with all of you is very important. It's a very big part of our plans, and so it's just a real pleasure to be with you every Wednesday morning.
Well, hopefully we've called attention to what you do, and you certainly have a niche in the banking community here and have had since you opened your doors. And I've always liked your slogan of Simple Banking, Simply Better.
Well, it works because that's what we are. And we when we were organizing our bank in 2003, that was one of our primary focuses, was to get back to the basics and not make banking complicated. Dealing with people's financial needs can be complicated, but resolving those needs does not have to be. So that's been our purpose and mission from the very beginning, and it's still our purpose and mission to this very day. But it's good to be with you. And well, the Fed meets today, Coleman.
Well, we're all wondering a little bit.
Yep.
We all pretty much know what's likely to happen. We don't know how much.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a rate increase, probably 75 basis points, probably 0.75% increase. The Fed is really determined to get a grip on inflation. A lot of the inflationary factors, though, they really don't have much control over, such as gas and food prices. They can slow down real estate growth. They can slow down other consumer purchases, but they really can't do much as it relates to gas prices and food prices. Maybe a little bit, but really not that much. So, but they're really, what we've never seen, Coleman, is such big rate increases in such a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it's a quarter of a point here and there. Next thing you know, they raise rates 1% over the course of about 3 to 4 months. But as you know, this time we've seen 50-point bump one month, the next month 75 basis point bump, probably 75 basis points bump this month. So we've not seen that really in the last 30 or 40 years. So it's kind of unprecedented time. And also, are we in a recession or not? Again, you can talk to some very experienced and knowledgeable economists, and some will tell you we are, and some will tell you that we're not. Some will say it's not imminent. Normally, when you're in a recession, you see low employment or high unemployment. You see devaluation of real estate and other assets. The stock market has taken a hit here recently, but it's still in pretty good shape. Corporate earnings are still coming in pretty strong. So it's a bit of an unusual time if we do find ourselves in a technical recession as a country. I don't know that we're going to feel it here in your listening area because of our diverse economy. But, I mean, we can't hide the fact that gas prices are high, food prices are high, and your listeners feel that every time they go to pump,
Mm-hmm.
every time they go to the grocery store.
Well, have you noticed any difference in the attitude of people, especially when it comes maybe to getting a loan or being affected by what is going on there?
Well, great question. We read about consumer confidence, and that number has come out recently, and that number is low nationwide. But Coleman, in our offices, when we see our customers and we interact with them, we're not hearing panic on their part. People are still taking vacations, and people are still buying houses, and we're not seeing any refinance business going on of a home unless they have to. But now they're certainly concerned about the inflation that hits them every day, like we just mentioned.
Right.
But we're not seeing panic, and we're not seeing the concern that we saw back in 2008, for example.
All right, just a quick mention here of free checking that you can get at Cedarstone.
Yeah, Coleman, it's very important, and we talked about the beginning of our bank earlier in this conversation, and from the very beginning, we wanted free checking. We think that's important, and it is free. It's free checks. It's if you want to come in the bank, you can do that. If you want to bank with us electronically, Coleman, you can do that. It's all free. Our technology is top shelf. You won't find any better. And if you use your Cedarstone ATM card at any other ATM, we'll reimburse those third-party fees. So there's really no reason not to have one, especially as you have families that are listening who have children going off to college. It's a great way for them to get their first checking account, and mom and dad can put money in that account here in Lebanon, Mount Juliet, or Nashville, and they can use that ATM wherever they are in college, and it's free.
All right. Well, great to have you. We'll do it again next Wednesday.
Thanks, Coleman.
All right.
Here.
Bob McDonald. He's President CEO, Cedarstone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson. Simple banking, simply better. We're 11 after the hour. My guest is here this morning for the first half, and I want to welcome again Gail Hibbert from the Farm View Expo Center. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you today. And at 7 o'clock.
I know, it's a little earlier than I normally am here, but that's good. Change is good.
How's everything going? I mean, it's the good old summertime here. Some like it. I like it hot, but others don't. And it's been hot enough for me this year, I must say.
I would have to agree with you. I like it hot too, but when I have trouble breathing outside, it's like, okay, I think we've had enough. So,
well, you've had a busy summer, haven't you?
We have had a busy summer, and things are continuing to go well, and the calendar's continuing to fill. And it kind of hurts me a little bit when I have to tell somebody I don't have space for what they want. 2023 is shaping up to be looking good. We don't have many spaces available over weekends next year at all. So that's, if you want something on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we might need to look in 2024 or 2025, depending on what time of the year. So, but summer also brings a little bit of a slower pace for us at times. Typically May and June are not as robust in terms of revenue that we bring in. And I think it's just due to the type of events that happen during that time frame, because people are busy, they're taking vacations, and event planners know that. They're not going to plan an event in the middle of summer. We just had a huge event that decided to move to September because of that reason. He was having trouble getting the attendance that he wanted in the middle of July, and I get that because people are gone. So, it's what I call the law of averages, much like I'm sure Bob understands that with banking and investments. It's you're going to have a few slower months, and then you're going to have some months that are going to blow out of the water. Like October is going to be an insane month.
Well, what about August when the fair is there for 10 days, I think it is?
Yeah, so they'll be there the 18th through the 27th this year, but their time frame in our building at the expo starts like the second or third day of August, and it goes to probably 2 or 3 days before the end of August. So they're in there setting up, getting ready, and then of course there's the fair. And
Was
then
this when you'd go on vacation?
everybody asks me that, and I'm like, well, not really, because the things I like to do aren't in August. So no, but it is a good time for us to do some internal planning, some strategy, talk about cleaning, maintenance, that type of stuff. We certainly aren't doing any maintenance while the fair is in the building.
Yeah.
But other than that, we can do some planning. I get a lot of work done in August.
How long have you been doing what you're doing? How long have you run the Farm Bureau Expo Center?
I started in May of 20, so a little over 2 years.
A little over 2 years. Well, you've got your feet wet, as we say now.
I think, yeah. I don't think I can claim to be the new kid on the block anymore.
But it's been a good 2 years plus, hasn't it, for you, and as well as the Expo Center?
It has. I feel very blessed to have had the opportunity to come in and pick up where, the former director left. And I praise her for what she did. She did a great job getting a very solid foundation in place. And like anything, when somebody new comes in, you kind of tweak it to be your own. You have your own kind of mindset. But we've got a great team. I could not be prouder of the team that we have there. It says something when you enjoy coming to work with them every day.
Okay, it's time for us to take a break. We'll talk more with Gail Hibbert in a moment. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:16. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. It's $49.95. Up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, safety check to 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. A couple of accidents out here. Right now, we're seeing heavy traffic develop on 24 up through the Hickory Hollow area, coming in from Rutherford County down I-40 through Mount Juliet. Watch your speed through parts of Wilson County this morning. Gatlinburg Wine Cellar, home of the world famous cotton candy wine. Log on to GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Charles Lehman is asking for your vote for Wilson County Trustee August 4th. Charles grew up in Noreen and has been a lifelong resident of Wilson County. Charles Lehman brings a strong education tempered with decades of experience to provide the citizens of Wilson County with a rock-solid background for their next trustee. Working as an appraiser for the comptroller of the Treasury for 34 years and going into real estate after retirement, Charles brings a strong foundation to serve as your next trustee. Paid for by committee to elect Charles Lehman Treasurer.
This is Bob McDonald with Cedar Stone Bank. For 17 years now, we've been serving our communities in Lebanon, Mount Juliet, and Donaldson. We can serve you in the way that best fits your needs. We have all the banking technology, we have beautiful buildings, but more importantly, we have great people. On behalf of our board of directors, I thank you for banking with us. If you don't currently bank with us, please come by and visit us in any of our locations. It would be our pleasure to talk with you about how simple banking is simply better.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Coleman Walker inviting you to join us at 7 a.m. Thursday, August 4th as we go over the entire election ballot for that day. Then on Friday, August 5th from 7 a.m. till 8 a.m., Judge Barry Tatum and I will recap the election results. We encourage you to vote for County Commissioner, County Trustee, School Board Member, and judges. Join us as we recap the results on Coleman and Company, 7 a.m. till 8 a.m. Friday, August 5th on WANT FM 98.9 and WCOR AM 1490 and online at WANTFM.com. Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us, and our thanks to Gail Hibbert for coming out today to talk about the Farm Bureau Expo. I don't know exactly what agenda you have here. We don't. When we say live, spontaneous, and unrehearsed, that's true of most of the programs that I do here. Somebody comes in, sits down, we start talking.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Not a big agenda, but the whole thing with the Farm Bureau Expo Center is a big agenda. There's a lot of money that the county's invested there, and it's incumbent upon you to keep that place full as much as possible and to hopefully have a positive look on the balance sheet at the end of each fiscal year.
That is one of the objectives, yes. And we've been able to successfully do that. And I mean, I'll be transparent. In May and June, May we crossed the finish line in the black, but it wasn't by a lot. And like I said, you start getting into summer, school getting out, things start slowing down just a tad bit. June was the first time we didn't cross that finish line in the black, and that was okay. Again, it goes back to law of averages. You know, if that may be the case for June, but if you take all 12 months and you add them up and average them out, you're okay.
Yeah.
You know, as long as that stays in the black, I'm good. I'm good.
Well, I think everybody is glad to hear that, and to know that the investment there is paying off. And what a I mean, when you weren't around when they bought the first 100 acres there and the first fair that was held, and I've heard the story, they would stand and look at cars out on the road and wonder if they're going to turn in, you know. We've come a long way.
Funny.
Well, that's true. I know it is.
Wow. Yeah, but it has come a long way.
Yeah. Well, it's a particular thing you probably want to focus on this morning, I think.
Well, I'm working to get the message out to our local businesses, our area businesses in Wilson County and beyond, certainly not limited to, but, you know, a lot of people are confused over the fact that they think because we're located in Lebanon, our only focus is Lebanon, and that's not the case at all. We're county owned, so everybody in the county, this is your building too, and we have a huge influx of businesses along, say, the 840 corridor, a lot of warehouses going in and that type of stuff. And, you know, business has changed since COVID, and a lot of them don't have the infrastructure to hold large trainings. What I'm seeing is that if they're going to get people together, they're going to get them more together fewer times. They're just trying bigger bang for the buck, and they don't have conference rooms or training areas in those facilities to be able to support that. Well, that's kind of where we come in. You know, a particular one that is constantly used is South Hall. South Hall is set up, if you need to do a training session, you need to do a business meeting on a larger scale, that is a niche that we can fill, and we can make sure that your event comes off very smoothly. Some of them spill over to the main exhibit hall. We've had state trainings come in, and they needed to get people together. They needed to do more people, less number of times, and they took over the entire main exhibit hall. And we're able to do, during COVID time, we were able to actually still do their training and space everybody because we had the space. So we want people to know we have that adaptable space that they can meet in. And the pricing structure is very, very reasonable compared to what their alternatives are.
Well, we hope to help you get that word out this morning, but if, and there's a lot of training sessions are necessary. A lot of, the way the corporate world works anymore, everybody needs to be on the same page, and a group meeting like this, I guess, is one of the best ways to do that, but you gotta be able to have the facility to do that.
That's
and
right.
As you just pointed out, some don't. Probably a lot don't.
Well, you've got a lot more people working remote,
Yeah.
but you still need to get them together. Well, if you've got a greater number of people not physically in the office and you still need to get them together, odds are you're probably going to need a bigger space.
So that's an idea that you're probably going to compound in the future. Hope to.
Yes. Well, that's kind of why I am slated for 3 event planning meetings where I will meet with event planners and talk to them about the resources that we have available. And I usually do that in tandem with the CVB and work with Jason Johnson. So basically I can say, this is the space I have, this is the facility that I can offer you and the services I can offer you, this is the pricing structure I can offer you, and Jason can help you with the experiences and the resources from the county side. What we're hearing is event planners are focusing more on experiences, not go into a major metropolitan city, landlock a number of rooms and keep basically their entire attendance in that one building for the entire time. They're looking for opportunity to go and experience, and I don't know if that plays into, I'm not sure kind of what that background is as far as what their thinking is, but that is definitely what's happening. And so Jason's been a huge asset to me to be able to help me when I've got an event planner who's like, look, we want to bring people in, but we want them to do stuff. We want them to get to know the area. And, you know, I just pick up the phone, Jason makes that magic happen for me.
As you look towards the future, do you see any big changes? I know COVID has changed the world to some degree, and we think we're sort of getting back to normal, whatever normal is in some respects. But from what you're doing, what's it look like?
The new normal is, for me, is real similar to what it was before at this point. Wasn't, you know, a year ago, but it is now. I don't see a lot of interest or concern to wear a mask, and certainly when an event planner rents the space, whatever space they rent the expo for, that becomes their space. And if they want to require masks or anything like that, they can do that. That's their call. It's their event. We actually did have an event recently that did require a mask, and it may have hurt their attendance a little bit because, again, perception is very powerful, whether it's backed up by data or not. Not having the flexibility to not wear a mask if you didn't want to in today's time is a bit of a, oh, well, then we're not participating. That there's a mindset there that we certainly didn't cultivate, but it's there. It's very real. People, I think, are getting back to the point where they feel like they don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I still see people around that wear them, but, and I'm not for or against them. I mean, you do you. If you feel comfortable, that's cool. But no, I don't see many people mandating that. So that's probably the biggest change that I see. But certainly the hand washing and social distancing,
Yep.
if you need to, that type of stuff is there.
Well, you have, 3 different spaces there that can be going all at the same time, or is it just 2?
Well, actually, I have 45,000 square feet in the main exhibit hall, which subdivides into 2. So
Okay.
technically, I could have 2 events there.
Right.
And I have South Hall,
Right.
which could be 1 room, 2, or 4. So technically, you know, the stars align. I could have 6 events going on at the same time.
Have you ever done that?
No.
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 Have you come close?
I have come close with 3.
Yeah.
So, and that's a lot. But fortunately, we've got the parking out front and just had some of that parking paved on the other side now. So that's really nice and a huge asset to us as well.
Well, I think if the economy doesn't totally go south or whatever, barring some unforeseen circumstances, things are looking up. We are hopefully past the way we were a year and a half ago with COVID. So I think the report is pretty positive this morning.
I would say overall, yes. I have not noticed a decrease in attendance in events. Comparatively, I've been there long enough to kind of do some, okay, last year was this and this year was, you know, proved to be this. I think a big indicator, and which isn't my event, obviously, it's the fair. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the fair does. I mean, you know, we aren't facing the same challenges we were a year ago, but there are other challenges out there. So I think the fair is going to be a good indicator as to kind of which direction we're going. And then our events, I mean, I have a full calendar the rest of the year. There's not a lot of space open for anybody to come in. So, I mean, and I talked to a couple event planners. They wanted to come in next year, and I'm like, we're going to have to look at 24 and 25 because I don't have anything.
Early in the week is a less busy time than the weekend, obviously.
A lot like restaurants, yeah. Mondays become kind of the day to clean, typically because people are, the worst case scenario is somebody's still moving some stuff out. So Mondays, sometimes Tuesdays, best days for maintenance, cleaning. That routine is established. But boy, come Wednesday, you may start seeing more activity. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something's happening.
Well, we don't have but a minute or so, but I'm just wondering here, are you having as many people from far away, you know, are people from miles away still as interested as they ever were?
Yes, I would say that is absolutely true. We're actually doing some data analysis right now, looking at that and the surface level. We make more money with events that come from out of town, and the county does too, because that's more heads and beds and more people eating out and spending money here.
Right.
We make more money than local events, but there's a balance there. You need to support the local and the outside of our immediate local area. You need to support that, as well as you need those bigger events to kind of balance everything out. So that's been my goal, is for everybody to have a reason to come.
And some of these real big organizations or events where you attract people from far, far away all over the country, there's a little bit more publicity for you, it seems, when they're here, and I guess that's good too.
It is good. And, you know, Philip came on board, and he has really done a great job in focusing on making sure that our Facebook, I never thought Facebook was going to be a key marketing thing, but it sure is. Yeah. But he's done a great job in focusing on the Facebook and focusing on the website. And then MJ, she does a great job on calling out our events. So, you know, I mean, we appreciate it. And
You've made her day.
well, we appreciate all of you guys, because you guys make it easy to get the word out for us. And, you know, it takes a village.
Well, thank you so much. Good to have you today, and we will see you next time in August.
That's correct.
All right.
That's correct.
Gail Hibbert with the Farm Bureau Expo Center, and that's part one of Coleman and Company. Keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And it's 7:31. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota, they have Red Max complete inventory of weed eaters, blowers, hedge trimmers for the commercial user and homeowner with up to a 4-year warranty. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still heavy on 24 coming out of Rutherford County right now up through the Hickory Hollow area. Just give yourself a little bit of extra time here. Traffic's picked up even more in the last few minutes on I-40 through Dixon County, coming through Kingston Springs. Pretty heavy on 40 eastbound, but at least it's moving. Foothills Mercantile Company creates unique handmade gifts in the Smoky Mountains. Check them out at Foothills Mercantile Company in Wares Valley. You can find them on Facebook. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
When you needed portable heating, cooling, generators and remediation equipment, contractor tools, or any other equipment or solution to help you get the job done, you trusted Absolute Rental and Supply. Now that same team brings you more equipment and more solutions as Herc Rentals. From construction and industrial to HVAC and homeowner, Herc Rentals has the gear and expertise to get jobs done efficiently, effectively, and safely. Visit us today at 1325 Main Street in Lebanon or online at hercrentals.com. That's HERC Rentals.com.
I'm Glenn Denton, and your primary candidate for 20th District Commissioner. I'm the only real conservative on the ballot and the only one listed for this seat. But I have 2 write-ins opposing me, so I need each one of your votes. No more huge property tax hikes or piling up a big debt. We have gone over 25 years without proper representation, and I have served 33 years in this district spiritually, truthfully, and boldly. It's time for a wise choice, a clear voice for clean government. Elect Glenn Denton, 20th District Commissioner.
Contact Stephen Lowry Land Clearing for all your land clearing needs. Whether it's clearing trails for ATVs, reclaiming pasture, or clearing your land of brush and trees, Stephen Lowry can get the job done. He works closely with customers, adjusting to make changes as you want. Stephen Lowry will give you quality work at a price that you can afford. He will also beat any written estimate. Call Stephen Lowry at 615-970-8154 for all your land clearing needs. That's Stephen Lowry Land Clearing, 615-970-8154.
We're going to be staying in this hot and stormy pattern for the rest of the week. High of 89 today, with the humidity making it feel more like 97. Be prepared for heavy downpours with wind gusts, especially in the afternoon. Low 80s by this weekend. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number 1 Ned.
We welcome you to part 2 of Coleman and Company. It is a Wednesday and time for us to talk about Herc Rental. And believe it or not, Philip Etherly's here for 2 weeks in a row. Philip, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
It's nice to see you again. Hope things are going well.
It really is. Things are going well.
As I said last week, you're wearing it again, your Herc Rental shirt.
that used to say Absolute Rental and Supply.
Well, I've still got a bright yellow one out in the truck, so I change back and forth depending on what I've got to do.
Well, of course, I think most of our listeners know by now that Herc has taken over what you started 20 years ago.
21 years. Yep.
21 years ago in June, and you are still with them for a while as an advisor and helping them get going. But as you mentioned last week, they have added quite a bit to what you were able to do as one entity here. They have places all over the country and more resources, and there are more opportunities for people to rent that they have provided.
They really have. You know, Herc's has such a wide range of equipment. Something that a mom and pop store really couldn't have. You know, from large, not only just larger equipment and more of it, but also specialty stuff. You know, like generators and portable heat and air. You know, it's a big thing right now. I saw a unit the other day out in a store, and it had a Herc sticker on it. It was Herc's. So, you know, they really have a wide range of equipment, and it's really nice to be able to have that at your fingertips. If someone calls and wants it, you can call and you can locate it.
Well, Keith Illy has been coming out. He's the man in charge, right?
Yep.
And I think he was on special assignment last week, and you made it out. And I guess you did such a good job again. He said, well, going back today.
Well, he was out of town for another meeting type deal. So it's worked out really well. But, you know, the basics are the same. You know, we're in the equipment rental business. If you have a need, a piece of equipment that you may not need all the time, or a special job assignment come up, you know, you can give us a call. We'll ask a lot of questions. We'll try to put the right piece of equipment in for what you're needing to do. And when you get done, all you've got to do is call and say, come get it. And it's really that easy.
Well, no doubt you laid a good groundwork here, and you had a tremendous business here for 20 years. But the opportunity presented itself for whatever reason. You said, okay, I've either had enough or this is too good to turn down.
A little bit of both. I think a little bit of both there. So anyway.
But they've taken the ball and running with it, and from what you tell us, it's just bigger and better.
It really is, and like I say, it's the same process. You call in, you tell us what you're wanting to do, we'll kind of find the equipment for you. But it's really, I always emphasize that, because we want to know what you're doing. We want to make sure you're getting the job done most efficiently, and also we're wanting to make sure our equipment's being taken care of. So that's the reason we ask a lot of questions. They are so safety oriented. They are really, they're going to make sure that equipment has been maintained and make sure it's there and make sure you know how to operate it safely. And that's a huge thing. And I think it's a big plus. That may be where Absolute was maybe lacking a little bit. We were all about safety as well, but man, they've got the policies and the procedures. It doesn't move on until it goes through their policies.
Well, one thing that hasn't changed and is not going to change is that telephone number, and you did a great job in getting that in the beginning. 443-RENT, R-E-N-T. That's what you do, and so that's the number to remember.
Exactly. It's easy to remember, and just give us a call.
And of course, the website, you can go there and see anything they've got to rent is there on that website. And a lot of people do start there, make sure it's there. Of course, the fact that it's something they have to rent doesn't necessarily mean it's available that day. So
that's right, and there again, that's the importance of calling ahead and making that reservation when you know you're going to need it.
And of course, as you already mentioned, but something that you I think prided yourself on, and I'm sure it still is, the fact that you can have it delivered. It'll be there on time. When you get through, you call and they come and pick it up, and you don't have to worry about going and getting it, taking it back.
That's a huge asset to the company. Exactly.
Anything else you got this morning?
No, it is. We're finally getting some rain. It's been dry, unusually hot, so forth and on. But all the summer projects that normally have the pressure washing, the sealing of the concrete, they still have all those retail products, the sealers, concrete sealers, and so forth. So, if you got those projects to get done, go ahead and give us a call. We'll get you fixed up. Tillers, pressure washer, tiller season's kind of over with now. Aeration season's kind of over with right now. But that pressure washing and just general dirt moving equipment's wide open right now.
Still got everything from wallpaper steamers to blow down.
Exactly. Still got them all. There you go.
Philip always thought of everything. I think you still do.
Well, we work on it.
Thanks for being with us this morning.
All right,
Kirk
thank you.
Reynolds and Philip Etherly, their spokesman today. And again, the phone number 615-443-RENT. We're about 21 and a half before the 8 o'clock hour, and we're going to be talking about drug-free Wilco this morning. And Tammy Groh is here. Tammy, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Nice to see you. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, what you've done and what you're doing now. A minute or two of your background and what you're doing.
Okay, well, I have a background in education, so 23 plus years serving in education and teaching health education. Prevention is my passion and has always been my passion. And recently, in 2018, we began a coalition, Drug Free Wilco, and I began there as the chair, and I transitioned to executive director in January of 21.
All right, we've got Joe Bond with us today, too, and Joe should be no stranger to even our listening audience, maybe if they've been listeners a long time. But Joe, good morning, welcome again.
Good morning, good morning.
And tell us what you're doing.
Well, I also work alongside Tammy with Drug Free Wilco on their coalition. I also have a company in Mount Juliet that we started in 2015 called Cedar Recovery, where we treat opioid use disorder, people that are struggling with addiction of any type. And so our paths cross through this as a mission oriented to help the community, help us all figure out a way to combat the opioid crisis and how it's impacted Wilson County.
What got you headed into that direction?
Well, that's a great question. It's a long story, so I don't think we have quite enough time to get into all of it. But, you know, my wife and I have experienced many people that we've come across in our lives that have either struggled with opioid use disorder or struggled with opioids as the crisis came together. And we've also, unfortunately, buried quite a few of them. And we've seen a lot of good friends pass away. I've had a lot of family members that have struggled with this. And many of you guys may remember my father was a judge here for a long time, J.O. Bond, and back in early 2000s, he started the first drug courts, which are now called recovery courts. And it was a passion of his. And it all just kind of came together one day that we felt like we needed to do something for the community. And now we're across the entire state in what we do with treatment centers. And but our focus is always, and it started here and it'll always be here in Wilson County.
Well, is there a particular message we're wanting to get out today? Mostly just talk about what you're doing, or is there something new, or where are we, Tam?
Well, I'd love to share a little bit about our coalition, and then, of course, before we leave, I'd love to share some upcoming events that we have scheduled for September. But just a little bit about us. Our mission is to reduce drug misuse and addiction here in Wilson County. We have a coalition of about 80 plus active members. So that and a very dedicated board. Our board members are Captain Scott Moore, Susan Shaw, Matt McPeak, Sheila Raymond, Jessica Stanley, Charlotte Busher, and Javen Cripps. And with all of them working alongside our coalition members and our sector representatives, we're doing what we can here in our community. So the partnership, I will say, here in Wilson County, we haven't had a door closed. Everyone comes together. Of course, we know that about Wilson County. We live in the best place right here is in Wilson County, but we have found partnerships make the difference here because all of us are invested in our future, in our kids, and just really pushing the prevention message and coming alongside each other on what we can do here to combat this opioid crisis.
Well, one of the things I think I have observed here over the years, we have a particular problem in one area. I mean, years ago, I guess it was marijuana, and then you get into heroin, and then you get into all these other things. I can't even keep up with all of them, but when you think maybe you've sort of headed it off a little bit in one direction, something else comes to take its place. Now, that's my perspective. Am I halfway correct there?
You are correct. You are. We did receive federal grant funding in 2021, and it's called the Drug Free Communities Grant. And what this does is we really take a public health approach. So we, take qualitative and quantitative data, and that just means we go out and ask people. We survey our youth and parents, and we find the local conditions. That's what you're referring to. Like what does it look like in Wilson County, and what do we need to do to target and make change to reduce substance misuse? And that's what we're doing as a coalition. We received that grant for 5 years. It's $125,000 a year for the first 5 years, and we are in year 2, working alongside alcohol beer boards, Lebanon beer boards, city attorneys, law enforcement. We work with Wilson County Schools on their code of conduct. They're really great about pushing in prevention methods. It's a whole county approach. You're right, not one fix and not addressing one substance is going to make a difference.
Well, it's about time for us to take a break. Let's go ahead and do that right here. Tammy Grow and Joe Bond are my guests this morning. Drug-free Wilco and things it's associated with what we're talking about. And we'll continue in a moment here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:43, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford and the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still moving on 24 out through the Hickory Hollow area. It's just heavy where you would expect, trying to get past Bell Road, Hickory Hollow Parkway. Lots of radar out here up and down. 840 this morning. Give yourself extra time, especially over there around Sulphur Springs. Hey, looking to buy or sell a home? Well, Greg Sanford is your professional realtor. Log on to gregsanford.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway, across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Charles Lehman is asking for your vote for Wilson County Trustee August 4th. Charles grew up in Noreen and has been a lifelong resident of Wilson County. Charles Lehman brings a strong education tempered with decades of experience to provide the citizens of Wilson County with a rock-solid background for their next trustee. Working as an appraiser for the comptroller of the Treasury for 34 years and going into real estate after retirement, Charles brings a strong foundation to serve as your next trustee. Paid for by committee to elect Charles Lehman Treasurer.
This is Coleman Walker inviting you to join us at 7 a.m. Thursday, August 4th as we go over the entire election ballot for that day. Then on Friday, August 5th from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., Judge Barry Tatum and I will recap the election results. We encourage you to vote for county commissioner, county trustee, school board member, and judges. Join us as we recap the results on Coleman and Company, 7 a.m. till 8 a.m. Friday, August 5th on WANT FM 98.9 and WCOR AM 1490 and online at WANTFM.com.
Stop the drugs.
Coleman and Company, welcome to our final segment here for Wednesday morning. If you're just joining us, we welcome you. Of course, Tammy Grove is with us. You're with Drug-Free Wilco.
Correct.
And Joe Bond is here. And tell us again your...
Yeah, so I'm with Cedar Recovery, but I'm also with Drug-Free Wilco as we do a lot of work together.
All right, we're going to kind of talk about the all working together here in a coalition, right?
Yes, so we have 12 sectors that represent our coalition. We can't do all the work alone. It really takes our community partners working together, and we've worked alongside Cedar Recovery in many things. They serve as a sector representative for our coalition, but also partner with us on the PIC Center. And I'm going to let Joe share a little bit about this amazing organization.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think it's really one of those things that kind of came full circle for me. As we mentioned earlier, Tammy said that there's a lot of, it takes more than one person to really help address the drug problem across the county, across the state. You know, Coleman, I don't know if you know, but we had over 3,000 Tennesseans last year die of opioid overdose, and that's a lot of Tennesseans, right? And it's a lot of people, a lot of them right here in Wilson County. And when I looked at, how do we address the problem and what do we do, we saw a lot of different groups that need to be involved, but it all started in the community, and Mayor Hutto was part of the force that formed Drug-Free Wilco. And when it kind of came together, it made a lot of sense because we needed the county government to be involved. We needed the judges to be involved. We needed the hospitals, we need schools. And Tammy's done a great job of kind of pulling all those together. And I guess it was a year and a half ago, the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse put together a grant program for programs that would get further upstream in addressing addiction, right? And also helping to get people out of jail. Because what we know is that putting someone in jail for 5 days or 10 days for a drug violation really doesn't help solve the problem, right? in some ways can actually add to the problem, right? Because they learn better practices while they're in there. So what we've tried to do is really address that, and we've worked with I nearly said General Thompson, but General Lawson. That dates myself a little bit, but with Jason and his team, and also just the entire community around how do we do this. And so we came up with a program called Preventing Incarceration in Our Communities, and it's PIC for short. PIC, Preventing Incarceration in Our Communities. And it's really been a very successful program to start. We started this program in October of 2021, and so we're about 10 months into that. Now it's a very robust program that addresses nonviolent. I want to make sure it's stressed as nonviolent drug offenders, people that seem to be addicted to drugs or alcohol or a substance use. And we have a full-time employee that sits and works directly with the DA's office and the Attorney General's office and the judges, and they put together a program for people that might qualify for this. Thus far, we've had 27 people go through the program that have been identified. Of that group, right now we have 18 that are still active in that program. We've had 4 people graduate out of it, meaning that they've gone through a program. They've been deemed that this is successful to them, and that they should no longer be a menace to society, if you will. I'll put that in quotes. And then we've got 3 upcoming. We had those 4 people graduate. We have 3 additional people getting ready to graduate in there, and it's a really unique program, because what we're able to do is cater to what type of problem this person might actually have, identify the addiction they have, and then make sure we work with community partners to get them to treatment centers that will help them. So it may not be Cedar Recovery, it could be Cumberland Heights, or it could be the next door in Nashville, or it could be Samaritan, or you name it. There's a bunch of different places that we send people to across the mid-state, and we want to make sure it's convenient for them. We want to make sure it's a place that they can get to, and a place that they can receive the help they need, because not identifying and not addressing the issue is not going to help reduce jail overcrowding or reduce crime in the community. And we modeled this program after 2 different places. One was Buffalo, New York, which is actually where the drug court programs, now known as recovery courts, actually originated back in the late 90s. And we also modeled it after one of Judge Dwayne Sloan in East Tennessee in the 4th District, a program he put together called 10 Rocks, which is also a state-funded program, where they saw recidivism rates, which are your return to jail times, how often you go, reduced greatly. They had jail overcrowding in Granger County. It went from 110% of capacity in jail down to 48%, right? And they did that in a little over 2 years. And they've seen crime rates decrease. They've seen all these different things. So we're doing a lot of great work with the PIC Center. It is still in its infancy. 27 people when we got 500 people plus that are typically in the Wilson County Jail. That's not a lot of folks. But as we begin to address and identify, I believe this is a program that can make our community safer, but not just from a drug misuse side, but from a crime side and different things that we can do to help address it.
Are the officials, say the sheriff's office, police, the DA, others, are they on the same page with you on all of this and really supporting you in this endeavor?
I would also yield to Tammy on that, but I would say 100%. That was
Absolutely.
Part of what we knew that we needed to do. Again, if you're not all paddling in the same direction, if you're not working towards the same goal, and one group's working against, we're never going to address the crisis. We're never going to address the epidemic. But by doing this together, what we're seeing is we're moving the needle.
They're absolutely on board. We meet about every other month, and we look at, progress, what things might need to be tweaked or changed just to make this process successful, just to really focus on recovery. We partnered with the Public Defender's Office, of course, the District Attorney's Office, General Sessions Court. We signed that MOU, and everyone agreed this is the way we want to move forward for Wilson County. This is good for our citizens. We really need to stop the stigma, that's around recovery. Recovery is possible.
Well, I think there's quite a bit of empathy, sympathy, whatever, towards people who have this problem. I think who we all are disgusted with is the ones who make these drugs available, the drug pushers, the people who are really a big part of the problem here, and that's a totally different thing. You're not connected with that at all. You're working with the victims of their wrongdoing.
Absolutely.
I would think that most people would fall right in line and support what you're doing. Just the person on the street, legislators, anybody that can look at this and see we've got the problem here you're trying to deal with and help people, at least one part of it. And of course, law enforcement's after those that are selling the illegal stuff all the time.
And Coleman, I got to hear, the former drug czar for the White House speak at the beginning of this year, and he put it in perspective for me. He said, this opioid epidemic, this overdose rate, it's like a 747 going down every day. So if we could just put our head around the focus and what we need to do to come together as a community to address, overdose in the United States, we would see the focus. And I think we do here in Wilson County. That, like I said, every door we've knocked on, the community has come together. And as you talk about that, I'll share in a moment some of the events that we have coming up to address what you just said.
Yeah. Okay. But then when we have these people who are overdosing and dying from that, and that to me is the worst case scenario. And you pointed out, I forgot the number, but several Tennesseans, what'd you say?
Over 3,000.
Over 3,000 in a year's time.
Yes, over 100,000 across the country, but 3,000 Tennesseans.
Well, that's definitely a problem. So, where do we go from here?
A couple events,
Right.
just like you spoke of. September 8th, we are going to talk about the issue here and who is partly to blame prescribing that medication. But we have a panel discussion around the book Dope Sick. We are bringing in author Beth Macy. I don't know if you've seen the Hulu series. I would recommend everyone to watch that. It's eye-opening, it's educating, it is dark. It is deep and dark. I mean, I had to watch a few episodes at a time and step away because it really is tragic to see how those prescribing the medications, the opioids, they knew what they were doing. And just see that with Purdue Pharma. We're going to have a panelist discussion. We will have the author there. We will have Taryn Harris-Sloss. She's the Assistant Commissioner for the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. She'll be on the panel. Dr. Stephen Lloyd, obviously the Chief Medical Officer for Cedar Recovery. He's also internal medicine and addiction medicine. The TBI Director, David Roush, and Carrie Sharp, right here from Wilson County, from News Channel 5. She'll be moderating the event, and that's on September the 8th, on a Thursday night. We're sending out that Eventbrite. We'll push that out on our Facebook page and website. We're at drugfreewilco.org, and you can also follow us on Facebook, but that's September 8th. It should be fantastic at the Capitol Theater at 6:30.
Okay. Do you have other?
We do. We have another event. It is September 3rd for Recovery Month. Gracious Cumberland University is letting us use their alumni hall, but it is called Drug Free Wilco Hope and Recovery Fest. We're going to have live music and vendors, free food. We have 109 Church of Christ. They're going to provide the food there. It's going to be a great event around recovery. Come out and support us. If you'd like to be a vendor there, please reach out to me at tgrow@drugfreewilco.org for more information. But it should be an amazing event for all family around recovery, and that is from 10 to 2 on that Saturday, September 3rd.
Well, one of the things that I think is noted over and over again, that the drug problem really knows no boundaries. I mean, rich people, poor people, good people, bad people, if you want to categorize them like that. It's a problem. It can happen anywhere, and I know you are aware of that, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that when you look at the numbers that we see and the people that we see we've lost to just here in our county, it's devastating. In my mind, and I'm just thankful that as we begin to, and Tammy mentioned a minute ago around the word stigma, and I think that's a big thing, is a big takeaway. You know, for so many years, we saw addiction as a moral failure, right? We saw it as, I grew up here in Lebanon, and that's what I thought. Well, those people just may not want it bad enough. But I'll tell you, the people I know that have struggled, it wanted it really bad as far as getting better and not being sick anymore. and not destroying their life and their family. They just need compassion, they need love, they need help, and they need guidance. And I think that's what Director Wilco can direct people to that. We have a list of treatment places they could go to, therapists they can go to, community members. But as we begin to stop seeing it as a moral failure and make sure we take care of the people that are struggling, I think that we'll help reduce that number, because people begin to feel isolated and lost and lonely when they've abandoned everything.
Well, no doubt. You, Tammy, feel real positive about the reception so far to drug-free Wilco and what you're getting lined up here and people coming together.
Absolutely, and prevention is key. We're thankful for our partnership, especially with Wilson County Schools and Lebanon Special School District, to help us get our youth prevention coalitions out there. We know our kids aren't going to listen to me, but they'll listen to other youth, so we do have those set up in the schools, and we're just really appreciative of all of the community organizations coming together and willing to work with us.
Well, your time is about up this morning, but Joe, it's good to see you.
Great to see you.
And I didn't really know of your endeavors in this area, but we found out about it this morning. And best wishes to you and all the recovery and things that you're working on. And we're glad to have you with us. And
thank you, Coleman.
Tammy, nice to have you. You've made a career change too, so it's good to know what you're doing, and we'll welcome you back from time to time.
Thank you so much.
That's going to do it for a Wednesday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow for our Thursday edition. And until then, I wish you a wonderful day.